I've been spending more time on Pinterest, and when I see these pictures of perfect pantries aligned all in style, I'm like, wow, I really want it. And when I look at my pantry, especially after Passover, I'm like, yeah, I don't want this anymore. I want this. I want the Pinterest one. So I've decided to make a complete makeover of the pantry with a shoestring budget of $5. If you like this kind of content all about the Jewish life and life of a busy mom, don't forget to subscribe. So let's jump into it. The first step will be obviously to assess and see what we're working with. And in this case, we're not working with much. It's just after Passover, and therefore I'm going to see what's good, what's not good in the pantry, as well as to take and assess the same way what we left in storage during Passover. Once I'm going to remove everything from the pantry, I will measure it to know what will fit where. Since we are now in quarantine, of course, I'm not going to go and shop around, so I'm going to try to upcycle things that I have already at home. So again, this is all the food that we left in storage during Passover, so I will go through every bin one by one and assess what's good, what's not good. I'm going to take this example. It's mostly dry goods, so I'm going to review them one by one to see the expiration date, and if it's good. If it's not good, of course, I'm going to toss it, and if it's good, I'm going to keep it. So I'm going to do that for every bin, and I'm going to try to find a system, again using what I have, to place them differently in our pantry. After the triage, this is what we were left with. So I've decided to take some Dollar Tree boxes that we had at home. I just took them, labeled them with a chalk label, and I've decided in this one to put everything pertaining to crackers and croutons. And of course, before that, I verified the expiration date. And the next box will be for pasta. I will put, as a general rule, pasta as well as couscous and rice together, because a lot of time they are interchangeable in our meals. I had some fancy shoebox holders that I was not using, so I've decided to use them to put the snacks for the kids. So I started with the bars. I figured, you know what, it was going to be easily accessible for the children as a snack station. So that was the first stop. And after I've done the bars, I've decided to do the same principle for the applesauce. I figured also it was going to be a good way for them to have access to the applesauce easily without them having to unwrap them and everything. So I just pulled them out of their packages. I did the same thing as well for the oatmeal, which is a staple in our house, especially in the morning. So this way they just have to pull it out. I did put them as a filing system for them to have an easier time pulling them out. As you remember, when I was looking through the bin, there was some grains, so I had a few glass containers that were laying around the house for another project that didn't pan out at all. So I've decided to use them to put the grains, and I also used my handy dandy label maker to label them. So I transferred every single grain and also nuts and all those kind of good stuff into these glass jars to again make them nice and pretty and more Pinterest worthy. I have to admit that I didn't foresee the satisfaction of going from plastic Ziploc bags to beautiful glass jars. If I would have known it had this kind of impact in a pantry, I would have done it a long time ago. And also, word to the wise, when you are transferring small grains or rice or popcorn into glass jars, do use a funnel. Because as you're going to see in the gag reel, I've learned my lesson. The next step, of course, was to upgrade the planks inside the pantry. I didn't have new wood, so I just did what everybody would do, which is a good DIY. I cleaned up the planks, took some contact paper. I only had 3 rolls that came from the dollar store with that particular design, and I've decided to cover the planks with that contact paper. It's really a project that took me about 5 minutes to cover all the planks of the pantry, and it was very, very easy. The nice thing about it is that it was already textured underneath, so it gave a certain realistic look to the plank itself. I just folded the edge softly, and voila, in a few minutes I had 4 new looking planks. I would have liked to go for this beautiful over-the-door organization rack thingy, but I'm not going out, and therefore I decided to upcycle or do a little DIY with this transparent shoe holder. I upcycled it to hold my Ziploc bags. The lower row will hold the smaller Ziploc bags for the children to be able to grab them, and the higher rows will be to store the larger items, the larger Ziploc bags, the vegetable one, the freezer one, the challah one, so on and so forth. The lower pockets also will contain little clips, the small one for the chips, the bigger one for the bigger items, and of course a little fancy schmancy one for the children to play with as well. I also have my cooking bag and my already torn apart little aluminum foil. This way I'm ready for Shabbos. The lowest part will be for some utensil because of course with the snack boxes they needed, especially with the pudding and the applesauce, some utensils. So here is the big reveal, this transparent shoe organizer that we use to store our Ziploc bags and other items. And then at the bottom of the pantry, we used some wick baskets that we had around the house to store the onions and the sweet potatoes and the potatoes. And what to say about these shoe organizer boxes? They're amazing as the snack station. The children really like them. And the glass containers, they just give that wow factor to this pantry. It's so nice to see everything, and everything is so clearly labeled, so it's just such a pleasure. The next level will hold all of our canned goods. We don't have a lot of canned goods right now, but with time it will fill out, don't worry. And the last portion of our makeover was with those 4 baskets containing cones and chips and pasta, and clearly identified with chalk labels. I hope that this video was useful for you, that maybe it inspired you to look at everyday items in a different light, to upcycle them and help you organize your pantry or another area of your life. Until next time, don't forget to share, like, and subscribe to this channel. We do upload new content every week on Tuesday, all about the busy life of a Jewish Orthodox mom working full-time with young children, and her tips and tricks to make everything doable. Until next time, stay blessed, stay safe, and don't forget to frum it up.